Hello and welcome to ICE Mental Game Training's Take Action podcast, the podcast created to throw sparks you can use to ignite yourself into action. I'm your host, Coach Pomai. In today's episode, we'll talk about what I consider to be the most important mental skill on or off the ice. We all know that being in the moment or being absorbed in something makes for the best performances. It can also help get rid of the most common roadblocks that slow down improvement in practice, like frustration, judgments, and negative thoughts. If you want the benefits of getting out of your own way in practice and in competition, you have to start with being in the moment. As I was looking out my window this morning, my neighbor, Brody, a 4-year-old boy, was playing out in the driveway. Brody had this yellow plastic bat that he was swinging around, seemingly at random. But as I looked closer, I saw that he was actually swinging at bubbles and popping them. The bubbles were coming from this bubble machine. So as a coach, naturally, I thought of all of the skills that he was learning, right? Eye-hand coordination, getting more accurate at hitting bubbles with a bat, gross motor skills and muscle development. Look, he's swinging the bat in different patterns. He was working on his speed. It was windy, so sometimes the bubbles flew up really quickly all over the place. And Brody had to catch those bubbles before they flew too high because he was only 3 feet tall. So you had to be fast. Now, while he was improving all of these things, he was having fun. He spent over an hour popping bubbles. When he missed hitting the bubbles before they flew too high for him to reach, he didn't sit on the ground and cry. He didn't strike the bat onto the asphalt in frustration. He went back to the bubble machine and eagerly waited for more. In the end, I stopped writing and I went outside to play with him. It looked like so much fun. I grabbed a stick and I joined him. What I learned was that swinging at the bubbles actually made it harder to pop. It was much easier to poke them, but you know what? It was much more fun to swing at random. Also, sometimes if you swing at the bubbles, they actually break off into more bubbles. The record is about 10-ish, at least that's what Brody told me. Oh, and don't forget the sound effects. You can't hear them from the window, right? Pew, pew, bam, boom, psh, psh. At one point, Brody lent me a Lego sword because apparently you're not a real pro if you haven't used the sword. I admit it was pretty good for popping bubbles, and the dog actually stopped growling at me for not throwing the stick I had that I was waving around. After a while, he started using his fist to punch the bubbles. Brody did, not the dog. And then he got out his shield because if you let the bubbles touch you, you lose hit points. So the shield was the skating wrist guard. But actually, he didn't really use it for protection. It just made his punch more powerful. Occasionally, he would stop and ask no one in particular, "Did a bubble touch me? Did a bubble touch me?" But you know what? It really didn't matter. He never kept score. If you're not sure of what being in the moment is, watch a child under the age of 4 as they play. If they get mad, they get angry, they get frustrated, they cry, they yell, or they go to sleep. They get all of their emotions out and they automatically reset for the next adventure. When they play pop the bubbles with a bat, they have nothing on their mind except popping the bubbles. They don't doubt their abilities just because they haven't popped 1,000 bubbles in 20 minutes. They're just absorbed in the moment. Time flies by. They build tons of skills and all by having fun. Here's what anti-fun looks like. When you're not in the moment, you are time traveling either to the past or the future. For example, a skater can skate clean programs in practice, but can't do the same in competition. This is what usually happens. They take their opening position, but they're worrying about landing their first jump. Or they leave out the second jump on an intended combo, and they wonder, where should I put it? Should I put it on the next jump? Should I not? Or they hear that they're behind in their music. So they're considering, should I cut my last spin short or should I not? What should I do? By contrast, this is what it looks like when you're in the moment. Number 1, you are absorbed in the element that you're doing right here, right now. Number 2, you're on automatic pilot because for goodness sake, you've practiced this program repeatedly. Number 3, if you miss the combo on your first jump, you naturally slip into plan B because you've practiced it and you make your third jump past a combo instead. Number 4, when you're behind on your music, you continue to skate your program as planned because you've already discussed this with your coach ahead of time. The spin is worth more than the time deduction, so you're just going to do the spin. Being absorbed in the moment. Hold on a sec. Doesn't this sound just like Brody and the bubbles? So even though you're not a 4-year-old, you can still set up an environment where you can be in the moment. Mental skills are all about doing this. You're going to be thorough, you're going to be careful, and you're going to build a step-by-step routine. All of these preparations allow you to trust your abilities. Even if you make a mistake, you know that you're going to maximize each element because your attention stays right where it should be at the right time. Let's talk a little bit about flow. If Brody wants to keep the bubbles from hitting him, he grabs a shield. No thinking, no analyzing the pros and cons. He seamlessly flows into the solution. He runs into the garage, grabs the guard, runs out, puts it on. In other words, he takes action. On the other hand, here's lack of flow. A coach wants you to tweak a jump. I like the word tweak rather than correction. So the coach wants you to tweak the jump. Most skaters stop the flow right here with a lot of thinking. Okay, I have to do this with my arm. Oh, but it comes too fast. What if I can't do it right the first time? Oh no, is my coach going to be angry and disappointed at me? Is he going to yell at me again? I have to do this right. But I probably won't because it usually takes me so long to change anything. This is what it looks like when you're in the flow. Number 1, you walk through the corrections a few times. Number 2, you do your pre-jump routine just like normal. And number 3, you jump again. How do you bring back the fun? Remember when you first started skating? You liked it. Skating backwards was a challenge you met every day until you mastered it. You wouldn't be defeated by 3 turns, right? You would just keep on doing it. You're going to do it no matter what. Sure, over the years and up the levels, it sometimes is so incredibly frustrating, but you still do it because you like doing it. And if you don't, then you need to start asking yourself some really serious questions, don't you? Right now, you aren't even allowed on the ice. Now, how frustrating is that? But what if you were to use your mental skills to bring the fun back into skating, even when you're off the ice? Why not approach your off-ice training as a challenge rather than a chore? You could explore the possibilities of doing a combination spin on a spinner. What about finding the fun in working to land an off-ice double axel? Eventually, everybody's going to transition back onto the ice. No doubt everyone's going to be so happy to be back on the ice. Things are probably going to go really, really well for the first week, maybe 2. Then old habits that were never changed will come back one by one. Many skaters will start stressing out with doubts and expectations. They're going to be impatient to get back to where they were before the pandemic, and worse yet, they're going to worry constantly about making up for lost time and falling behind. Using mental skills training to put routines in place beforehand that will help you focus on the fun of the challenge rather than the lack of the results will help you to thrive. In mental skills training, you'll learn what helps to get and keep you in the moment. It's different for everybody. It's not the same. And you need to explore that and find that out for yourself through experience. Just like most mental skills, this is probably not going to be a quick fix for you. Reading and understanding this is just the first step. You need to recognize, tweak, fail and succeed, get feedback. Be patient with yourself. An easy way to shortcut this whole process is to get expert help. It does not have to be me just because I'm a mental game coach. You can do a search on the web and find somebody that works for you. Oh, and when the bubble machine stops working, just hit it on the top with a bat. Thanks for listening. If you want to improve your mental game for competition or practice, download Confidence Mythbusters, a complimentary ebook, or if you've been with me a while already, check out our online course dealing with popping and circling and much more. Both links are in the description box below. Could you please do me a favor and share this if you find it helpful? And if you want to learn more, you can always find us at icementalgame.com or on Facebook at icementalgame. This is Coach Pomai reminding you that it takes mindfulness to reach excellence. Until next time, aloha and happy skating.